I grew up with sound at nearly all times. This wasn't usually by choice, mostly just loud siblings or radio music, or the sound of cars. There is almost always sound going on during the day, to the point you don't really realize it's there, until it isn't, and he replaces it. He began showing up at a young age, usually during the night when I would sleep with no sound in the room. You almost couldn't spot him against the dark shapes in the room. He is tall, unnaturally pitch black, sickly skin, and stands perfectly still at all times. He is almost always in a shushing position, one finger on his right hand in front of where a mouth should be, but isn't. For a long time, it never even registered I was seeing something in the dark that was actually there, until I saw him outside of the dark. I was visiting an old colonial house in my town for a field trip one day in middle school, and I ventured off into a different room. The rest of the group went outside, while I was still inside. It took a moment to really notice the silence, and I didn't at first until I saw him again. Tall, dark and skinny, shushing me. He didn't even look alive from how still he stood. As soon as I began to cry from fear, he was gone in the blink of an eye. I ran outside to the group and told them of the man, but of course, the house was empty. After a while, my siblings matured and video games were more present, so silence was common. And for a while, so was the Shushing Man. He would stand in the corner of the room while I read, and I would nod at him every once in a while or make a sound and watch him disappear, only for me to look up a few moments later and see him back. He wasn't much of a problem. That is, until he started fixing the silence. The first time this happened was when I was falling asleep. Total silence, as I liked it to sleep, with full knowledge the dark statue of a man was telling me to be quiet when sirens go off in the distance. I live in a small town, so this is unusual. However, me being very tired, I disregard it and fall asleep anyway. The story in the news the next morning is that the dad of a family of 5 killed his family in the middle of the night. The family was happy and members of our church, so this was a strange encounter. I had not yet connected the dots until it happened again and again. All during complete silence. More sirens would go off. I made sure to watch the Shushing Man when the sirens started, and a smile appeared on his face before disappearing as if he was never there. I had to now vow to never be in silence. Earbuds, tapping, whatever was needed, and soon I had gotten into the habit of it. Years passed and I didn't see the Shushing Man. I was having dinner with my family when my parents began to argue. My siblings and I just sat there looking at our food until my older brother spoke up and told them to stop. The dinner table got quiet. Too quiet. I knew this sound. It had been years since I heard it. The sound of no sound. Silence. My eyes shot up. He was in the corner, smiling, shushing. And then my dad stood up.